I find it difficult to be creative sometimes. I either get extremely bored or extremely frustrated and I end up giving up. Says rest in peace. One thing that's important is maybe identifying if you are a creative type of person or not. I know that I am, and I know what it feels like to get frustrated when things aren't working, and I know what it feels like to give up as well. Creativity, a friend of mine says the idea of inspiration will hold you back. What do you think? If I apply that to my philosophy on getting things done, or like health and fitness, like you do it regardless of how you feel, I would agree. However, not all the time. Like, especially for me, I used to do it that way, right? I used to be like, the creativity comes and goes, and the inspiration comes and goes, and you just keep powering on. And I found that while you're powering on, the creativity, the sparks of it come back. Just this week, though, I've tried a different approach. I've just tried to be more relaxed and not worry about it and take time to do other things, and that's worked for me too. So I think it's really just about having a plan, Like, if you want to keep yourself in that creative zone and have an output of creativity, you've got to attend to it when it doesn't work, and there's a variety of different approaches. So trying them and figuring out what works for you is probably the best thing. Giving up is ultimately what's not ever going to work, right? Don't tell yourself you can't do something, because it'll just become a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? People don't do stuff by telling themselves they can't. People who do and try do fail as well. But, you can't get off the starting blocks if you're going to tell yourself you can't do something. Hey X, I'm working on a play and I'm having some writer's blocks. Any idea on what to do to help the ideas flow? Well, as we're discussing, there are a variety of things you could try. The best thing is to don't do nothing, right? Is what we kind of just got to. So, as someone who writes as well, my philosophy is to kind of power through and do it anyway, which is also ironic because at the moment I haven't been writing as many blogs. I've just decided to put my time into other things at the moment and take a little bit more time listening to the records. But anyway, my philosophy with writing is to do it regardless of how you feel, and then some of my blogs come out better than others, and it's very rewarding when you get in a good flow and you do one that feels right, and when you do one that is not so great, it's about just moving on to the next one for me. It's the old 90% thing, right? You could spend a lot of time getting to 90%, but sometimes it's better to just get to 80% because that 10% at the end takes so much time. I'm currently in year 11 and the creativity is really hard from your innate English test and under pressure from time, says Hybrid Frost. Yeah, if they've got you doing creative writing in an environment like that, I mean, I don't know what advice to give for that specific environment. I think if I knew I was going to be approaching an environment like that, I would sort of maybe come like armed a little bit. I mean, I don't know to what extent you can know what you're going to be writing about beforehand, but any kind of preparation will always make an exam a little bit easier, right? I give up really easily on things that aren't mandatory, but I have to do something. I don't have any problems. So my trick is setting hard deadlines on small projects. For example, build this tool before next week. Learn how to use it before October 27th. That's a good one to share. I never, and have never really used, the old deadline trick, right? But it works really well for some people, so that's a good one to share because someone listening might not have tried that and it may be worth a go. You have to embrace pressure a little bit that way though, so I'd be wary of, if you try it, make sure it doesn't have any kind of like negative consequence on your psyche, right? Always working towards deadlines. It might help you get something done, but make sure it doesn't make you feel stressed or pressured. KX, you are always so organized and productive. Do you have any tips or certain tools used to help you? Thanks. Yes. Tip number 1 is to create lists of your things you need to do, things you're inspired to do, creativity. Just get lists of things you need to do in life. And sometimes it can be as simple as like, I need to clean the house. Just write it on a list. Depending on how organized you are, some things like that for me is not something I write down, but it's those in-between bits like, oh yeah, I've got to take off those shelves and move them somewhere else, right? Put it on your list. Whenever you've got a little bit of downtime, you look at the list, you get productive and you go and do something. And I do that with how I do my live streams and how I, do my videos. It's all lists. I've got a list right now. What's next on the list?